The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, read about it with your host, BJ Williams.
We have a great show for you today, including a talk with Walter Matia about his book, A Question of Balance. But first, I'd like to talk with Robert Brady and Cannell Brannon. They are with the Literary Voices Committee of the Library Endowment Trust. And Robert, we have something exciting coming up, don't we?
Yes, we do, BJ. Thank you for inviting us. We have on March 31st at the Oklahoma City Golf and Country Club at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock, a speaker by the name of Juan Williams. Juan is currently a Fox television political analyst. He's also on NPR in the morning on Morning Edition. He's written 4 acclaimed books, was a columnist for the Washington Post, and has some very good credentials as a public speaker.
Mm-hmm. Now this is, as I said, the Literary Voices Committee, which is bringing Mr. Williams to Oklahoma City, is part of the Library Endowment Trust. And what exactly is that?
Well, the Library Endowment Trust manages the investments of the Metropolitan Library System and supports its community events and programs. Mm-hmm. It's really a neat part of the library system here.
And it was actually something that was formed to sort of supplement the library system operates on a tax, a dedicated tax that goes directly to the library, but obviously there are a lot of things that we could do if we had more money, and hence
that's where we come in. That's right. And well, our event, Literary Voices, definitely the proceeds will benefit the library system.
Mm-hmm. And this is not the first year that you've done this, is it?
No, it is a fundraiser. 2 years ago was our first event at the Petroleum Club. We had 360 people, and Dave Barry, the columnist, spoke, sold out in 2 weeks. Last year we had Dr. Beck Weathers, an author and mountain climber, who had a tragic accident, and we sold out again in 2 weeks with 450 people. And this year we're going, as I mentioned, to Oklahoma City Golf and Country Club, and we have a maximum of 550 people tickets that we can sell. Mm-hmm. So we think hopefully we'll sell out again in a very short period of time.
Mm-hmm. And the invitation is to anyone if you call soon enough.
That's right. I mentioned 6 o'clock. That will be $150 for sponsors and people that would like to meet the author from 6 to 7, and then at 7 o'clock the dinner and the speaker, and that will be for $100. Mm-hmm. And we hope to sell out, as we said.
Uh-huh. And the phone number where people can call about that?
That number?
606-3761. Am I correct?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And actually you can go to the library's website, www.metrolibrary.org, and go to the Library Endowment Trust, which will get you to the phone number that you need to call.
Exactly.
Or check with any library. When you're checking out books or something, they'll be happy to give you that information.
The 16 libraries in Oklahoma County.
Right. Or you can call them. You don't have to come down and talk to them.
That's right.
So now you said Mr. Williams is an author and a columnist, so do you think it's going to be a good talk?
Well, I think it'll be excellent. He has testimonials from colleges, from schools, from regular fundraising events, that he's very inspirational and has a very good articulate message to give. Mm-hmm. His books, his most recent book is My Soul Looks Back in Wonder, which is about the civil rights movement. His probably most famous book is Thurgood Marshall, American Revolutionary, which has just been reprinted because of the 50th anniversary of Brown v. Board of Education. Mm-hmm. And This Far by Faith is another book, and Eye on the Prize is his 4th book. But he's a very has written a number of books.
Mm-hmm. Well, given that he has witnessed a lot of history and is obviously extremely articulate, I think it's going to be a really interesting evening. And I guess those of us, I shouldn't give away my age, but those of us who saw the beginnings of the civil rights movement here in Oklahoma, I think would be very interested to come and see his national perspective
Absolutely.
on what was happening with us.
Also, I might mention he's graciously agreed for the following day, on Friday, April 1st, we're going to have a session downtown at the library, at the auditorium, and invite journalism students from colleges and high schools from around the state. and he's going to stay another day and also do a lecture and question and answer, and hopefully maybe some book signing. He'll do some book signing at our March 31st event also.
But now the Friday event is for journalism students. Are they going to need to go through their teacher or something like that?
We'll be contacting the deans of the various journalism schools throughout the state.
So if you want to get in on that, you better go get enrolled in a big hurry.
Right. And that's a free event.
That's
There'll be no charge for that.
At the library.
Okay, but for most of us, we really need to go to the dinner and
Yes.
hear him talk. And then, as you said, the proceeds from that will go to the Library Endowment Trust. And now that is an actual a foundation where the money is put into a trust, and then the interest from that, I think, is what is used to further library programs and so on. And
Stocks and bonds
stocks
and various
and-
investments.
Yeah, right. Anything that'll make a little bit of money.
Exactly.
Right?
Have to help the library.
Well, this is something that you've sold out
2 years.
2 years. You're expecting to sell out this time, and
Hopefully.
I think you will.
so.
If you're listening, folks, and you really want to go to this, you better call right now and get your name on the list. But are you going to try it again next year?
Absolutely. We want to showcase not only our library, the Metropolitan Library System, but renowned authors.
And so you will be anticipating pretty soon who you will be looking for next year, but the announcement won't come
Exactly.
until much closer to the time for that.
After we immediately start looking for an author after the event.
And it's usually somebody different with a different interest, or maybe who writes a different style, fiction, nonfiction, or
Well, you've had a pretty eclectic selection
Yes.
so far with
Humorist.
humorist,
Mountain climber.
political. And political. So makes you wonder what's going to be coming next.
Exactly.
But first, we want to remind everybody to call and or check on the website to find out how to get in touch with the Library Endowment Trust, and at www.metrolibrary.org. Remember, the dinner is March 31st. You need to get your reservation in well in advance. It's going to be sold out at the Oklahoma City Golf and Country Club. Thank you very much, Robert Brady and Canal Brannon, for telling
Thank
us
you,
about
BJ.
it. Coming up next, we've got Kelly Rhea. She'll be talking with Heidi Johnson about a book for our very youngest readers.
Hello, Heidi Johnson from Tech Processing is here, and she's brought two beautiful books, as she usually does. Tell me about the first book you brought.
Well, first one is actually a tribute to teachers, and it's called My Teacher Can Teach Anyone. And it talks about the versatility of teachers, that they know a little bit about just about every subject there's out there. And this little boy talks about his teacher in this instance, and he says, she can teach an astronaut to float in space. She can teach a janitor how to ring a mop. She can teach a dentist how to fill a tooth.
Oh, my.
And so in alphabetical form, rhyme, it goes through the whole book. It starts with occupation, starting with A, and takes it all the way up to Z. I believe it was a zoologist.
Oh.
And it talks a little bit about the different professions and some of the things that you do when you're in that profession. And throughout the whole story, the teacher is the one that, tells the kids the basics. And he is a firm believer his teacher is the best. She could teach anybody anything. And so that's what this book is about. It has very beautiful illustrations, very colorful illustrations that I think any child would love to follow along and see what the picture says about the next occupation, the next job that the teacher could teach about.
So this book is appropriate for what age then?
This one is one that like a beginning reader could read, or a reader could read for themselves. Parents could read it to their children, but it is fairly simple language, not a lot of words, so fairly small ones can probably try to tackle that one with maybe a little bit of help.
It's called My Teacher Can Teach Anyone. It's by W. Nicola Lisa. You might need a little help finding it, but it would be worthwhile. Tell me about the second book.
The second one is called Let's Eat. This one is for a little bit older children, either for parents to read it to the children or children themselves be a little bit older.
Like third grade, fourth grade?
Third grade, fourth grade would be appropriate, I think. And what it talks about is 5 different children all over the world. There's one from Thailand, one from Mexico, one from India, one from France, and one from South Africa. And it shows the different ways people eat, the different foods they eat. And I was thankful as I was looking at that we can go sometimes to a grocery store to pick up some certain items. In some parts of the world, you cannot do that. Either you grow it yourself or you will have to do without.
Or you trade for it.
Or you trade for it. You go to the market sometimes and trade there with other farmers.
I thought this book was really nice, the photography in it, you see the family group. That's all we can tell you about it though this time. It's called Let's Eat. It's by Beatrice Hollier, and we know you'll find it at your local bookstore, at your favorite library.
Hello, everybody. I'm here with Levita Dent this morning. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
You wanted to talk a little bit about some programming that's coming up for the library system, and that is
Spring Fling.
Yeah. Okay.
Coming up March 14th through the 19th. We have Antonio Roca, who is a native Brazilian. He lives in America now, but he is going to be, he's a performer storyteller, and he's going to be doing his show called Crossroads.
Crossroads.
And
What is that?
Well, it's a combination of several stories, and they're stories from Brazil, Africa, Asia, United States of America. It's kind of a variety of things, but he used this particular show to, he used mask and mime and with his stories, and he's trying to build communication skills, teach communication skills. It's kind of, he uses this educational value through it. He, self-esteem and your inner value, which is tied to your appearance.
Oh, that's
those are kinds of
entertaining
things.
and a little bit more.
And it sounds very exciting, and comes very highly recommended. He's got a long repertoire of places where he has performed that loved him, and he will be, the 14th through the 19th is a Tuesday through Saturday this year. Our spring flings in the past have been Monday through Friday, but he was only available Tuesday through Saturday this year, so we took that opportunity to have a show Saturday at our new downtown location, which should be fun for some people who haven't had a chance to come out and see the new downtown, to get out there that Saturday.
See the dinosaur.
And they can go to our website, www.metrolibrary.org, and go to March's calendar and see the times for each of the library locations. But he will be at 2 or 3 libraries a day during that time.
So people can visit the website and get the exact dates and times and that sort of thing.
And they're scattered all over the county.
Yeah, about how long is the program, so
It's
people
about
can figure about it?
about a 45-minute show.
Okay. And that's during spring break, right?
That's during spring break, and so we have the Spring Fling that is sponsored by the Oklahoma Arts Council for years now. I don't remember when it started, but and the Friends of the Library help sponsor that as well. So it's fun bringing these performers in from across.
About what age group?
This school age, elementary school age, I would say kindergarten through 6th grade are the primary kids who benefit from it. But some of these little ones that are used to hearing stories and being entertained like that would enjoy it as well too. So it's a good family thing.
Okay, thanks, Levita. Again, check out the website for all the details, www.metrolibrary.org. Coming up next, we have M.J. Vandeventer, who's Director of Publications at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. She'll be speaking with Joy Reed Belt, who is the owner of the RB Art Gallery at the Elms, about a book that Joy really enjoys. Here we go.
Joy, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
You know, I thought you would bring art books today because you have this wonderful art gallery. So you surprised me. You brought murder mysteries.
Well, I did bring mysteries, but there's one mystery that's about a painting.
Oh, well, that's good.
That I brought. But you know, besides art, I love travel, and I like mysteries.
So throughout the year, I have this little book in my car or my purse. And every time I read a book review or hear about a book that's about another country, like it starts out here, Cuba, South Africa, Shanghai, Brazil, I write those titles down and the authors. And then before I'm going on a trip, I read those on the plane. And one of these, the Seville Connection, and all three that I brought today are by Arturo Perez Reverte, who's a Spanish writer, and he's just wonderful. And he wrote the Seville Communion, and I was reading it on the plane on the way to Seville, and I'm in the second chapter, and it talks about him checking into the Hotel Maria, and I thought that's where I'm staying. When I was in Seville, I was there for a meeting, but I visited all the restaurants mentioned in the book, all the churches, and everything, and it really helped acclimate to the area.
So what's the essence of the Seville Communion?
The Seville Communion is fascinating, but it's based on the premise that a hacker breaks into the Pope's personal computer and starts sending messages, around to that they should do this or do that, not evil messages, but things that they should be doing that are different from probably the Pope would want them to do. And so they send somebody to resolve all of that, and it's very interesting. And it has the Cardinal's mansion there by the hotel in Seville, and I would walk out every morning. I left the hotel and see that, and a lot of it took place there.
And what's the one about the art?
The art is the Flanders panel, and it's about an art restorer in Madrid for the Prado Museum, and she is given a painting to clean. And when she's cleaning it, she uncovers a hidden message in the painting. She takes layers and layers off, and there's the message. And then that develops into a mystery.
And then you brought also the Club.
Club Dumas is about a group of people who collect rare books. And there are like 11 of them around the world.
This is fascinating.
Yeah.
And your idea to put this in a notebook and then to follow up on this when you're in those countries. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Come again.
Okay.
Thanks, MJ and Joy. Every year, actually a couple of times a year, I get to go out to the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum and talk with some of the authors that they have at their Prix de West and Western Heritage Awards. And one of them I talked with last year was Walter Matia. He is a sculptor. He worked for the Nature Conservancy for several years before he was able to go into sculpting full time. He is now a sculptor, and he also has a casting company, Curlew Castings, which casts a lot of his own sculpture. He is exhibited extensively throughout the United States and Asia. I think you will enjoy what he has to say about his book, A Question of Balance. What inspired you to write this book, or to create the book? It isn't a written book.
Artists spend so much time sort of creating what they create with their hands. And very often it's just a matter of having to step back and sort of re-look at what you did with your hands and try and put it into a different language. A book, particularly for artists, forces you to do two or three things. One of the hard things is it forces you to make choices. Is to look back at your body of work and say, all right, what is it that I've done over the last 5 or 6 years that actually speaks to what I was trying to accomplish? The other thing is, once you've done that and you've sort of organized what you thought was the best thing you did, there's a problem of actually putting it into words what you thought at the time you were working on, but also many of the times you're reviewing pieces that you haven't even seen for 4 or 5 years. And to look at them again, to sort of ask yourself, all right, what did I accomplish here? Or did I accomplish what I thought I was accomplishing? And so it's this wonderful exercise of sort of forcing yourself to go into another person's language and think more about what you did. This particular book was done as part of an exhibition at a gallery, actually at a museum in Georgia, that was concentrating on the sporting work that I did, which was bird dogs and game birds. And so there was a certain selective There was certain self-selection just by virtue of subject matter. But in the process of going through to do the book, I found myself sort of saying, well, that may be what this show is about, but it really isn't what I've been thinking about lately, and so I tried to broaden it slightly.
I appreciated some of the comments that you made from the point of view of someone who simply enjoys sculpture. When you were talking about you worry when somebody comes up to you and says, I want you to do a sculpture of my dog. And it had never occurred to me that there would be a concern other than creating the best art you can when somebody says, paint a portrait of my dog or my kid.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm a representational artist, which means that I see the world and then I try and represent it. And sometimes when you are asked to do something specific, what the client sees in the dog or the daughter is something quite different from what you see in your representation of that. With dog and animal portraiture, the worst part of it, frankly, is that by the time somebody gets around to saying, I want to spend a large amount of money on immortalizing this dog, that dog is probably 11 years old and it's his flea bag in the corner.
Right.
Meanwhile, in the owner's mind, that dog is still 4 years old. And what you get to see and what they remember are two such different things that it's really hard. The more I learn about portrait painters, the more awe I have for them, just because they face this all the time. In fact, I did a horse sculpture for somebody, and it was an 11-year-old gelding. Well, I don't know that much about horses, but I was pretty sure that an 11-year-old gelding was getting on to be an old horse. So I went out there to work on this thing and came back and we brought the model in, and the owner was like, well, it's very nice, but could you make him 7?
Oh no.
This was a racehorse, so it was even stranger than that because it was a racehorse and it'd been out of training for 4 months. And I didn't frankly know that much about horses, so I had this big sort of sow of a horse, Well, I went back to look at the horse like 5 months later after we had the model, and the horse had now been in training and had dropped 200 pounds. And it had gone from sort of this mastiff to whippet, over the course of the 3 months since I showed this model to the, well, you know the rest of the story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, but the wonderful part about books, particularly from an artist standpoint, whether they're painters or sculptors or singers or whatever, is that it's just the constantly having to force yourself to change languages. Because you learn so much about what you actually were trying to do if you force yourself to actually write it down. I did this book, it was actually pretty simple in a funny way. I picked the photographs, I laid them all out. I talked to a friend of mine who was going to design the book, and she said, how many pages do you want? And I said, I don't know. She says, well, you need groups of 16. So it became pretty reductive, the choices. But it wound up, I think, 72 or 96 pages, I can't remember. And I just took 96 pieces of paper, and I put them around the room, and I took photographs, and I just stuck them on the pieces of paper until the story visually made sense. And then I sat down, and every day I'd write a paragraph or two about the pictures, trying then to sort of organize what did all these pictures have in common? What part of my life were these things talking about? And in this particular case, it just came out as a series of paragraphs that didn't necessarily flow from one sculpture to the next, but as a body, I think they kind of told the story of that group of sculptures. And it's done in sort of a narrative, which had its moments, because I'm not that good a writer.
Well, you're a sculptor.
I'm a sculptor, but I was lucky. I had a friend who was a very good editor, and so he took all of this palaver and cut it by about 2/3, And then he showed it to me, and I said, well, yeah, you've now done your art. And then we added back another, I don't know, added back another third, and that's what wound up in the book.
You have a wonderful story in here about you had a commission to do a bull for some...
Oh, it was from Merrill Lynch.
From Merrill Lynch,
Yeah.
and you ended up here in Oklahoma for that, didn't you?
Yeah, it was it was a job for the Merrill Lynch Corporation, and they wanted they'd spent billions creating a corporate logo, which was a fighting bull. And I got a job to do this bull for their new different corporate headquarters around the country. And the problem is I am from Maryland, and our bulls are basically bred for something quite different. They wanted them ampile, docile, fertile.
Right.
They weren't much interested in sort of aggression and all. So I got on the phone and I started calling friends of mine and said, well, I don't really want a big Brahma. I want some Spanish blood in these bulls. And I wound up down here in Hastings, Oklahoma, at the ranch of a man named Rex Dunn, who raised some of the finest fighting bulls for the cowboy rodeos. And he was marvelous, and he told me an awful lot about what was actually going on in the breeding of these things, and we just had a great day. And he's a very skilled guy, very knowledgeable guy.
And from the photographs, it created a really beautiful sculpture as well.
Well, maybe.
Oh, okay. I had that reaction from artists
that
before.
too had its moments.
Right. Well, I want to thank you so much
You
for
bet.
telling us about your book.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Well, Doug Benton is sitting beside me, and that means it must be almanac time. And Doug, I'd be willing to bet that you have an author's birthday for us.
I have several authors' birthdays for us, but everything from the very popular to the very unpopular. The popular writer, February 25th, was the birthday of Frank G. Slaughter in 1908. Do you remember Frank Slaughter?
Only very vaguely.
Yeah, huge bestsellers in the I guess, 30s, 40s, 50s, even into the 60s.
Oh, that was far too early for me.
Far too early for you, yeah. And February 23rd is the birthday, we think, of the author B. Travin, just the initial B. And nobody knows for sure who he was. He was a fellow who lived down in Mexico and wrote politically aware novels, socially aware novels, including The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. So, happy birthday.
Well, very good. And remember, the Friends book sale is coming up February 26th and 27th. You can find out about this and all those authors at www.metrolibrary.org. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next time.